right, so Paul, sorry to have you wait there. Paul Raworth Bennett is a creative writer, ardent wordsmith, oddball humorist, outdoors enthusiast, all-weather cyclist, a proud father, fortunate friend, and a lucky survivor of youthful tomfoolery. An emerging poet, Paul has yet to publish formally, but he's enjoying tinkering with various poetic styles, building a fledgling corpus of literary flotsam and jetsam on Instagram. So I'm not going to read out the addresses for you, but I will put them on chat. So on Instagram, Facebook, and in his blog, Verbalis Neurotica or Verbalis Neurotica.
Sure. Yeah, that works.
Paul especially enjoys wordplay while having his bare feet warmed by Bingo, his elderly curled up Bichon Frise miniature poodle cross. So take it away, Paul.
Thank you, Carol, and thank you for everybody for showing up. Can you hear me okay? Are the acoustics all right? Okay. I normally at this point I would hoist Bingo and in front of the camera. You can see how adorable he is, but he's sleeping, so I don't want him to start mewling and pining for me when I'm in the middle. So maybe at the very end. But anyway, and I also want to thank especially my sister Pam and my niece Olivia, and I've got friends. Oh my gosh, Paul Blazig, Amanda. I hope I don't miss anybody. I apologize if I have Diane. Diane, there you are, lovely. Nice to see you. And so it's good. So I'm really glad to be here. But anyway, Ruth, I just want to say one more time what a fabulous reading that was. I have a lot to learn from writers such as yourself. So I feel like I've been to Europe already this afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to read a few poems here. I'm going to be mindful of the time and okay, very good. I'm going to read a few poems and then I've got a few little haiku to show you at the end. So I'll just be reading from a variety of different themes. I write about nature, I write about love, I write about goofy stuff. Sometimes some of my writing is formal and structured and others is free verse, but it's a variety of things. As finding my voice, as they say, right? So the first, let me pull up the tab here. Now, if I can, oh, actually, I don't need to share my tabs just yet. Okay. So this is a little poem about what it's like to come up with something creative when you're writing. It's called Writer's Lament. It's New Year's Day, I'm uninspired, and here I sit, hungover, tired, resolved to write, just peck away for 15 minutes every day. Who knows what stream of words will flow from foggy brains that rarely glow? If gold, how fortunate I am. If dreck, then I don't give a damn. Like pulling teeth is how it feels, driving a car with oval wheels. A river not, my mind feels weak, a trickling, drying up desert creek. An hour of toil yields so few words, a mess of alphabetic turds. It's been like lifting mental weights as my artistic zeal abates. Why can't I just pull out a book and curl up in some cozy nook? Fly high on someone else's wings instead of pushing mental strings. But writing calls me and does pique my fervent masochistic streak. So doggedly persist I will, 'cause finishing is such a thrill. The end. Okay. Another one here. This one was kind of fun. It's a want ad placed in the singles. Remember the old days when people used to put personal ads in the newspaper, called Supermarket Swingers. 6 hunky, well-ripened avocados, 9 hot young chilies, and 3 smartly pressed cloves of garlic, seeking fresh, fragrant shallots and tart, juicy lemons for discreet, no strings attached Cuisinart group encounters in an upscale kitchen in Layville's desirable Tenderloin district. We're pepper-free and love salty humor. You're chill, GMO-free, at least 18 hours post-harvest, and willing to practice safe blending. Shy shallots may wear a few sprigs of cilantro. If interested, please send a recent photo and a self-addressed stamped fig leaf in confidence to Box 7, Station X, Layville, Kentucky, 69069. All righty. So here's another one on the writing process. And it's about the tugging back and forth that poets often do between free verse or structured verse, or which way to go. It's a tough call. There's pluses and minuses on both sides. And neither should be ruled out as better than the other, right? In my opinion. To rhyme is divine. Dismissive champions of free verse are wont to scorn and even curse us bards who like our poems to rhyme as ignorant of thoughts sublime. But unlike binging on YouTube, rhyme makes us solve a Rubik's Cube, not plastic squares of red and yellow, but gray matter like hardened jello. Yes, rhyming schemes can lead astray the messages we thought we'd say, but hanging in there, we might find what comes out instead can be divine. What flows can often bring surprise, regardless if it's truth or lies. And if our words are very smart, they'll find a path into one's heart. Okay, moving right along here, a little bit more fun. This one is about the Zoom experience that we're all experiencing at the moment, and that we've done so much in the last 3 years or so. And it's inspired by the sitcom The Office. The usual cast of crazy characters, Michael, the hapless boss, and then there's a few others whose names will pop up in the poem. And this one's about flirting and imagining lusting after one's colleagues, I suppose you could say. It's called, Did Michael Just Call My Name? Here we go again, 11 of us stuck in tiny black boxes built by servers and routers from electrons, silicon, and glass, the usual yawn fest every damned morning at 9, and I'm stuck in box number 3. Jim just sits there smiling. Dwight keeps interrupting, while childish Michael, our hapless boss, has gathered us here to thrill us by unpacking the quarterly budget. Unshaven, he looks like something the cat dragged in. But here you are, my vixen flame, just below me in box number 7. And though we've never closed the many miles between us, how wonderful these meetings are, silent exchanges of desire. You seemed a little down yesterday, way beyond Andromeda, your Zoom background, your playground, out amongst the stars. Were you longing for me there? Were you wishing I'd bring you home? You look a little brighter today on that white sand beach, soothed by tropical breezes. Are you dreaming of refreshing aloe beneath my skillful hands? I had a good time yesterday just chilling on Mars up here in box number 3, among those deep orange craters. I'm having fun today in my alpine meadow, savoring these flowers and birds. But all that matters right now are the flickers of lust I can see in your eyes. May the strength of my gaze fan your ardor. Just listen to Michael drone on and on and on about our retail partners. Pam can't get a word in edgewise. Andy's head is sagging. Creed has started snoring. Robert's eyes are glazed. Ah, may my naughty looks undress your soul, because that's what you're doing to me. When I look at my screen and you're looking right at me, I know what you're thinking. Do you like it when I touch my hand to my cheek? Do you imagine it's placed upon yours? I see you've painted your lips in a come hither coral, and damn it, you know that I wish I could bite them. You're such a tease. Poor Michael, what an oaf. Who gives a hoot about margins and sales? But he'd fire our bad asses, I'm sure, if he knew how we're fogging the windows up here in boxes 7 and 3. So when it's finally safe to be less than 6 feet apart, let's crawl out of these damned boxes and finally meet in person. Try to go slowly. Start with a coffee, just you and me, freed at last from boxes 7 and 3. Did Michael just call my name? The end. Okay, here's one. Here's one that I wrote for my dad. And I read it at a previous session. A lot of people loved it, and I thought I would share it with you again. My dad is a retired doctor, and he is a very humble man. He had a really humble start in life in rural Saskatchewan in the 40s, 30s, and 40s. And he's, besides being a well-loved physician, he's also been a beekeeper, and he's a really good gardener. And he's a very kind man who just loves living things in general. So I wrote this for my dad for his Father's Day last year. Master of touch and flow. A Depression-era prairie child, you touched castles made of sand and grew up humbly on the land, playing with quirky homemade toys when big sky sunsets and sunrises pierced those distant flat horizons, and phantom prairie winds whipped and slowed while carving soils that crumbled and flowed between your dusty fingers. While caring for your patients, you touched their myriad lives, seeing generations through the precious joys of birth and health and scary times when death was stealth. Alas, you finally said goodbye to 31 devoted years, and in your private office flowed heartfelt thanks and grateful tears. A man with two busy green thumbs, you touched your grateful plants, feeding, watering, staking, pruning, each year when summer greeted fall, when gourds were huge and pole beans tall, tomatoes ripe and basil lush, your veggie patch seemed to explode, and jellies, jams, and salsas flowed into dozens of bottles and jars. King of the queen, workers and drones, you touched their heavy buzzing homes of your 90,000 pets, calming them with quiet words and soothing them with smoke. Your colonies thrived, the honey arrived, and soon it flowed in streams of floral sweetness. A lover of insects and birds, you touched startled chickadees while swaddling them in cloths after they'd fluttered inside. When launched again into the sky, their freedom melodies flowed back through our open window. Despite my love of playing with verse, of sculpting thoughts and dreams and touching hearts and minds, no matter how much I chase nuances across creativity's garden, I'll never capture ones that say how grateful that I am today for your pure love's touch that's always flowed to me since I was smaller than a grain of sand. Happy Father's Day, Dad. All right. Okay. So moving right along here. This one is Love Sestina, and it is built, and I'm not going to go into what a sestina is. I've done this before. I've presented this on other occasions, but I'll just say that a sestina is a kind of a complex form that's built around the repetition of a set of 6 words. And the words are each at the end of each line, and they repeat in various patterns. So the words in this poem are love, heart, kiss, smile, time, and hold. This is called a Love Sestina. The warmth of your sweet love does fill my yearning heart. It burns within our kiss and sparkles in your smile, such that the flow of time is gently put on hold. Together we will hold a crucible of love. We'll stir it over time and forge a common heart whose beating makes us smile, compelling us to kiss. It's you I long to kiss. My lucky lips will hold the sweet taste of your smile, which yields the words of love that wells up from your heart until the end of time. Let's always make some time to steal another kiss and strengthen thus our heart. Our future will then hold, created by our love, 10,000 ways to smile. I think about your smile and of the lucky time we started making love, beginning with a kiss. How gently you did hold my gaze and touch my heart. When I first won your heart and you flashed me a smile, I knew you'd always hold keys to the vault of time. We'd seal it with a kiss and bury it in love. You hold my heart, my love, Your smile I'll ever kiss. We'll bind the hands of time. The end. Okay. This is another love poem. This one's a little shorter. It's the sort of thing that, who did I write this for? Somebody. I wrote this for somebody. I don't know yet who she is. I haven't met her yet. Anyway, this is called Swimming Lessons. Having almost drowned in seductive, opaque pools of toxic relationships and stumbled through jungles of codependency, I feared I could no longer swim. Desperate for a way out, I stumbled through dark thickets of uncertainty, found an icy river of avoidance, donned a fear preserver, plunged in and floated downstream on a river of missed opportunities. Until one day, the forest released its grip, my river of avoidance then ended, and I met you. You beckoned me to abandon my fear jacket, open my eyes and heart, and dive naked into your happy waters. Buoyed by your optimism, floating upon your love, you taught me the backstroke, the breaststroke, and the butterfly. Okay, now I'm going to read a poem about my dog. And this one is, he's very old and he's blind and he's just as sweet as he ever was. But, you know, he doesn't have a lot of time left. But I just thought I would write this for him because I love him so much. Milk and Silence. What do you see, dear little Bingo, through eyes full of milk? Once dark and shiny, now white and hazy, eyes that stare into space, eyes that obscure your soul, eyes that search the carpet in vain for undropped biscuits. What do you hear with ears full of silence? Once perky and alert, now useless and deaf, ears that function no more, ears that can't hear my whistles, ears that no longer stand up as you tilt your head from side to side. How does it feel to stop and look for me in all directions when I'm standing nearby? Or bump into furniture, or stumble off the curb, or flinch at sidewalk shadows? How does it feel now that birdsong, barking dogs, laughter, my goofy love language, and my adoring voice have all fallen silent? Your glass shattering bark no longer shocks me when there's a knock on the door. And though my words no longer wag your tail, my smile still does. But for how much longer? What's it like, sliding inexorably towards sensory oblivion? Are you frightened? Are you angry? Are you sad? There's still smell and taste. So now it's time to treat you to a few more scraps from the table, and it's time to take you on longer, slower walks during your twilight years, so you can sniff the plants and flowers, smell other dogs and their markings, and work that little nose to your heart's delight. And there's still touch. So now it's time to hold you, pick you up anytime for any reason during the day or night. And it's time to give you more belly rubs, head massages, and nocturnal cuddles, so you'll continue to know the depth of my affection. Oh, dear little Bingo, your tail still whips and whaps. You still get super excited when I get home after 5 minutes. You've shown me that no matter what happens, joy will never abandon us. And for that, I will always love you. The end. Here's a quick little poem. I wondered what it's like to be. This one's a nature poem, and it's short. It's about what's it like to be a leaf on a tree, and in the fall, and as you are awaiting your fate with the other leaves that are tumbling. It's called "I Say Damn You, Old Soul." Soul spelled S-O-L, meaning that's the spelling of the word sun. I say, damn you, old soul. How could you paint us all in late summer's gold, then just snatch it away and then ship it down south? You've abandoned us leaves, forsaken the forest. It's November, it's dark, and we're damp and we're cold. Well, I'm brash and I'm bold, so I'll never let go. Drop from my skinny branch, give myself over to the soil, feed the microbes and mold. No, I'll never be rolled. Just 'cause you stole the summer, I'll hector and haunt you. So damn you, old soul. All righty. Okay, now I've got, let me see here. I'm coming to the end of my poems portion. And I think I will, I've got one more poem to read. And this one is a little bit longer, but it's not a long poem. It's a medium length poem. And it's a story of love. It's the recollection of a very old man looking back on his life and the relationship he has had with his wife. And he's thinking back on the seasons and the chapters of the time they've known each other. It's called She Sings My Body Electric. She sang my body electric when that frosty January day, before she slowly walked away. She gave her phone number to me, and to a date she did agree. 2 teenagers, we rode that bus. So many things we did discuss. I surely hoped in 2 weeks' time she'd be my first real Valentine. She sang my body electric when her liquid hazel eyes caught mine, 1,000 sparks electrifying my glowing soul and joyful heart. She stole my breath, gave me a start, that breezy April morning, while on sandy shores of Passion Isle, we sailed our kites among the gulls and rode the gusts between the lulls. She sang my body electric when, reclining in our hidden glen, we'd hold each other tight, and then, her undulations overloading my neural circuits to exploding, she'd claw her fingers gently at my sturdy legs and sweaty back on steamy, star-domed late May nights in our sweet meadow of delights. She sang my body electric when, the day that I did realize my future in her sparkling eyes, adoring me through gossamer lace that softly veiled her radiant face, her white-gloved hand assuring me, her calming gaze enchanting me. She locked her velvet lips with mine, infusing me with joy sublime. And warmed by late June's evening sun, we took the plunge and joined as one. She sang my body electric when, her lips erupting screams and swearing, her body suffered pain unsparing. When I first heard Sam's toothless cry, I pled with God to reveal why I'd signed up for this daunting chore that hot July night just before the morning when the world would see our household grow from 2 to 3. She sang my body electric when she sent young Sam up to his room for being that summer camp buffoon. And at my side, she gave me pride at how she took it all in stride. That balmy August afternoon, we knew that he'd grow up too soon. She sang my body electric when she dabbed at salty trickles while our handsome Sam walked down the aisle. We watched a rugged 6-foot male so nervously lift Sarah's veil. That September day, they sealed their bond and stepped towards the years beyond, embarking on their journey to adventures that would see them through. She sang my body electric when, on circus rides, she'd whirl and spin with Sam and Sarah's young son, Jim. She'd sometimes get his parents riled. She'd spare that rod and spoil the child. Share ice cream on October nights. Oh, how Jim loved those colored lights. And as he grew, she was the dove that showered him with Nana love. She sang my body electric when, on battered piano, she would play the tunes that made old faces gay within that musty party room, and shoo away November's gloom, those rainy nights when we would roam the hallways of our nursing home. She sang my body electric when she'd fill my belly up with laughter and spreading smiles and spawning banter, regaling all the medical crew. She'd usher all us loved ones through those dark December nights before her body finally lost the war. She sang my body electric when she lay beneath an earthen pile from 6 feet down. She called me while to dark, to blackness did my soul decline. I pelt the ground with sorrow's brine. That heartless January day when Hades took my bride away, and silent stone and faded flowers did usher in my anguished hours. She sings my body electric when, relaxing in my darkened room, I see her spirit in the moon. Her sweet celestial whispering does cause my weary heart to sing, and hope will one day reunite and forge a star from golden light. And rising from her resting place in testament to love and grace on breezy April afternoons, while songbirds trill exquisite tunes, new vigor does the soil exude, and spring green shoots of love renewed. She sings my body electric. She sings my body electric. She sings my body electric. The end. There's a lot of people in my life in that poem. My mom's in there playing the piano at one point, and yeah, I've done some of that stuff. Okay, now I'm going to move along more quickly now, just through a few haiku. And for that, if I could just share my screen, that would be great, Carol. I can't actually hear you. Your audio.
Yeah, you should be able to. Just go ahead and give it a try.
Okay, perfect. Let's just see here. Oh, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay.
That's what it said. Oh, okay, there we go. Looks like we're getting
Got it? Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So can everybody see the word haikus on a blank screen? Okay. Great. Well, I am inspired by other people's art, and that could be paintings, that could be photographs, that could be music, but it's typically visual art that inspires me. And so this is a small collection of haikus that I've read recently. The color play. 700 trees packed the amphitheater, all stars in the show. Ocean meets the sky, hues of abalone shell, tonic for the eye. Voices of the earth singing in an alpine brook, tumbling over stones. Nature waves her wand, 10 trillion crystal soldiers, busyness must rest. Snowflakes swirl and dance under misty cones of light, magic in the dark. Oh yeah, this is bingo. Old deaf blind dog plods, snail paste pinball, sniffs for me, nuzzles, wags, curls up. The world's sweetest yuck, kibble kisses, rapid fire, painted on my nose. Ducky shadows me, quietly settles as I read, warms my foot and dreams. And that is the end of my little presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you for listening.
I really enjoyed the range of poetry that you shared with us today, and also the kind of sensitivity, or what's the right word, emotion that was in some of your poetry, especially. Absolutely amazing. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say?
Good job, Paul.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. I've learned a few things from you, I should say.
Yeah.
Well,
I've typed a couple things in the sidebar you can look up.
Yeah, that's the other thing I wanted to say, both Ruth and to Paul. Thank you, Herb. Is that you really should check out the chat line because there's many comments to both of you about your work that I'm sure would be interested in seeing people expressing their appreciation for your work. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. I think I put you through a full half hour just about there. So
Great. No, it was
I
really
love those haiku, Paul.
Mhm.
I love
Right.
the pictures you have with them.
Yeah.
yeah, I have. It's amazing where we find these things, right? Sometimes it's just something somebody posts on Facebook. It's just a picture, and they don't think much of it. And I would contact them and say, hey, can I use this for a poem? I mean, for a haiku. Really, Mother Nature is amazing.
Yeah. Very nice. Very nice.
oh, thank you so much, Paul. That was beautiful.
Mhm.
Oh, Paul, I just wanted to ask you, you were talking about free verse and form poetry. I was
Yeah.
wondering if you had a preference yourself, because you have a blend of things,
Well,
but I was wondering if you have a preference.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess my stuff leans a little bit towards structures. You probably saw that 3/4 of what I wrote was pretty structured, but I don't know. I think it has to do with the way my mind works. Like my left brain is in the analytical side, the mathematical, logical, whatever, and that's the side that obsesses over, okay, got to nail that down, anapestic trimeter. You got to just nail those poetic feet, right? Like there's part of me that really gets off on the challenge, right? The intellectual challenge of the technical side, right? Finding the perfect rhyme or the perfect synonym or whatever. But then that's not necessarily the mentally healthy side, right? Because the right brain, of course, being artistic, creative, whatever, expressive, that I don't think I'm confident enough yet as a writer to really dive deeply into the right brain side, the free verse side, because I know that my imagery could become much more powerful if I let myself go and not worry about, does it rhyme? Does it flow perfectly? If I just let go of some of that stuff, then I probably will find some broader horizons to really, to go a lot deeper, right? Does that sort of answer your question? I don't know.
I think so. It takes a lot of skill to be able to do both, especially tackling Sestina. That is not an easy form. My goodness.
Yeah, the Sestina, that one is that one was a real Rubik's Cube, but I kept it really simple. And I'd like to write another Sestina, but I'm almost scared to attempt it.
Fred Cogswell, who we have our Fred Cogswell Award every year, he was famous for his Sestinas. And not many people like to try them because they're difficult. I've never actually written one myself, and I was thinking about trying one, but now after hearing yours, I'm like, I don't know. It'd be quite a challenge.
I kept it really simple. That Sestina is actually what is that? It's 3 feet in each line, and I think it's anapest. It's all I know is it's rhythmically perfect. I mean, that sounds a little cocky to say that, but it actually is. And I think I drove myself nuts. Right?
I think you're a perfectionist.
Sorry, I know, and that's not good. I need to let go. I'm sorry. I apologize for the phone in the background, but I need to relax more in life in general. And I think that not I should have unplugged that phone. But anyway, yeah, I think mental health is often about letting go of stuff.
Yeah,
really, that's what I'm learning, right?
but if you're up for the challenge of these forms, I mean, bravo. Like if you're up to the challenge, go for it. Maybe you found your niche. So.
Oh yeah, sure. Mental health poetry.
Yeah. Okay, so Diane.
It is kind of satisfying to to take a little project on like that and finally nail it, right? So
yeah,
it was great. And I mean, rhyme is fine. I know some people look down on it, but it works well. And I love your sense of humor. I mean, that's looked down on too. I mean, comedies never win the Oscars, right? Or rarely. It's not a respected art form. Shakespeare did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
all my respect to the wit, because I am a goof in reality, but I can't write goofy. I can't write witty. It takes a skill, a real skill. So.
Well,
Yeah.
I think lightness and levity are good things to seek, to go after. And I need to do more of that in what's ahead of me in life than I have perhaps for a lot of what's behind me. And so I'm actually quite interested in writing funny stuff going forward, whatever form that takes.
Lovely. Just keep it up, Paul. Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Keep it up.
I did find a couple of really, really short things I'd like to share if there's time.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yeah.
First of all is a haiku. It's a daylight savings time haiku.
All right.
And,
Okay.
Daylight savings time. Clocks leap forward, dragging me. T-shirt on backwards.
Oh yeah, better check. You made me look, Paul.
There is actually another another short poem that I wanted to share. It's an acrostic poem, and if I can just share my screen, that's okay.
You should be able to. Let me know if you have problems with it.
Called Vanquished, and this one is basically there's a picture of a couple of old trees on a very old stony plain, probably taken down in Utah somewhere. Called Vanquished. Vanquished. And then, after chasing, catching, and slaying his closest friend turned mortal enemy, Cyrus threw up his arms in jubilant victory and anguished regret, while Mortius, supine upon the cruel ground, breathed his last, cursing the complicit sun for stoking his thirst, stealing his energy, and crippling his doomed flight across the stony plain. So that's what I saw in that photograph there. And the last thing I can share really quickly is a little poem called, let's see here, where is it? Okay, really quickly here. This one is called Sunset. Oh, sorry, just gonna make sure I'm sharing the right screen here. Just 1 second. Oh, okay. Stop share, and I will just grab this one here. It's called Vanquished, and it is, sorry, Sunset Invasion. Triangular squadrons of waves relentlessly advance, storming the glistening sand, while the dark sea exhales the roar of tumbling surf, only to slide back defeated, failing to take the shoreline, thwarted by the earth and the moon, while the dark sea inhales the chorus of rolling gravel. And Mother Solaris gathers her reds, yellows, blues, oranges, greens, browns, all her spectral children, and pulls them over the horizon, rounding up the little ones, just like mothers always do, to take them someplace safe beneath the earth, to slumber a while until she'll awaken them and unleash them to color another day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.